Hey everybody, welcome back to Football Talk with Vinny. So obviously in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl, just my predictions and who I think is going to win. Now obviously in the Super Bowl matchup, I think a lot of people do have Kansas City as the favorite. You know, as they should be, right? They had a very impressive win against the Buffalo Bills, which to that point, the Bills were a good team that they showed that they were very impressive in their own right, and they just absolutely destroyed them. So meanwhile, you got the team like the Bucks. They won a couple of close games. You know, they did play a lot of good teams, right? You had to play the Green Bay Packers, the New Orleans Saints, but those wins were semi-impressive, not as dominant as the win that the, obviously, Kansas City Chiefs had. With that being said, though, I think everyone kind of understands where these two teams are. You know, you got the Chiefs who are more like top-heavy, right? They have more of the top-end players like Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, right? Even Chris Jones, the defensive tackle. Whereas the Bucks are more built on the depth, right? So if you were to say, okay, well, right, the top 10 best players on either side, right? You'd probably, you know, 5 of the top 6 or 7 guys would probably all be Kansas City Chiefs. But then if you were to say, okay, well, write down the top 30 guys, you'd probably name roughly around 20 guys from the Bucks and maybe 10 from the Chiefs, right? Which is where that depth comes into play. Now, I think it was for Pro Football Focus, they did a ranking of all the top players, and it was something along the lines of, I think it was like 18 of the top 30 guys were Bucks and 12 were Kansas City Chiefs, but in that top 10, I believe it was like 7 were Kansas City Chiefs and 3 were Buccaneers. Something like that. I might not be super accurate with those numbers, but again, that kind of goes to show you that you know, the Chiefs' talent is kind of top-heavy in a sense, whereas the Bucks have a lot more quality starting guys. So I think it's going to be an interesting matchup because it's going to be a kind of a battle of which one wins. Would you rather have the top-end talent or would you rather have the depth, right? Now, I personally like the depth. It is good to have the stars, but I do think, you know, football is a 53-man roster, right? There's so many guys that kind of are involved in who wins and loses the ball game that I think I'd rather have the team that's got the better depth and the more players that can actually make a play for you. Obviously, don't get me wrong, Kansas City is a very good football team. They are favored for a reason, right? They have looked extremely impressive. You do have the best player on the field in Patrick Mahomes, and you might have the second and third best player as well from, you know, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Now, I actually went back and rewatched the game. It was pretty crazy watching it. Kansas City kind of crushed them in the first half, and you know, I kind of was looking at some stats. Kansas City was actually 0 for 3 in the red zone, so they didn't score a single touchdown in the red zone, which is crazy because, you know, when you're kind of going and guessing into how this game's going to play out, it's kind of hard to see the Chiefs not scoring in the red zone in the Super Bowl rematch. So the game could actually be more of a blowout than it was in the first game, right? Because that's just a number that, you know, you don't really see Kansas City getting in the red zone 3 times and getting no touchdowns out of it. Now, on the other hand, the Buccaneers offense obviously is playing a lot better than it was earlier in that season, right? And obviously with COVID and no practices and no training camp, you know, the whole Bucs offense had to get adjusted. So weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those are essentially, you know, preseason games and training camp, right, for them. So it was going to take them a little longer to gel and kind of get together, which they've obviously shown in the postseason and late in the season that they are able to do it. But I do think in this game, if you are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you have to start fast. You cannot allow Kansas City to go up 14 points, 17 points. Their offense is just too explosive, right? If you're down big, it could be a blowout early, right? And I get it, you have Tom Brady, he's come back from down big before, but Kansas City's offense is so explosive that you don't want to put yourself in that position. And also in the game, Kansas City was actually 50% on third down. I have the numbers here. They were actually 6 for 12, whereas the Bucks only completed 33% of their third down conversions. They were 3 for 9. Now against the Bucks were 1 for 2 in the red zone, with Kansas City being 0 for 3. Bucks did have 2 turnovers to Kansas City's 1. Both quarterbacks played pretty well. Patrick Mahomes played at an elite level. He was fantastic. He was actually 37 for 49 462, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. Brady was decent. He was 27 of 41, 345, 3 TDs, and 2 picks. He was good, not great. Again, you hope to maybe cut down on the turnovers, maybe throw another touchdown or 2. And then also the running game for the Tampa Bay Bucks. I think that's going to be huge in this game, right? If you're able to run the ball, right, and establish yourself up front, it'll make it easier for Brady and the receivers to pass. You'll be able to play action, right? Obviously, with Tom Brady being 43, he's not like Patrick Mahomes in the sense of the mobility, right? So he's not able to avoid the rush like Patrick Mahomes is. So if you're Tom Brady in that Buccaneers offense, you need the running game to kind of help alleviate some of that pressure. So with that being said, let me get into the prediction. I'm kind of torn on this one because I think the Bucs are a very good team. Like I said, their depth is incredible. I think from top to bottom, they are a more talented roster than the Kansas City Chiefs, but Kansas City does have the better top-end players. This one's kind of weird because you never really want to go bet against, Patrick Mahomes the way he's playing. He's playing at such an elite level. It's tough to really pick against him. But also you have Tom Brady on the other side, who's been to 10 Super Bowls and has 6 Super Bowl titles. So how do you really want to bet against him in a Super Bowl as well? With that being said, I do think it's going to be a tight game. I think the Bucs are going to be able to run the ball enough to kind of affect the pass rush for Kansas City. I think Tampa Bay's pass rush is going to be a problem for Kansas City. But again, if you're Patrick Mahomes, he's going to be able to avoid the rush and get out of some tricky spots. But in general, I think the game is going to be tight. I think it really could come down to who has the ball last. Again, I think it's going to be such a close game. I'll take the Bucs. Like I said, I think it just might come down to whoever has the ball last. But I'll take the Bucs in a very, very close ball game. I'll say 30-27 Tampa Bay. But, you guys let me know in the comment section, what do you think about my prediction? What's yours? Who do you think is going to win? Feel free to comment below. Make sure, obviously, like and subscribe. It does help the videos out a lot. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.